Welcome to The Art of Ringing with the Back Bay Ringers. My name is Griff Gall. I am the founding artistic director of the Back Bay Ringers Handbell Ensemble. In the spring of 2004, a fledgling handbell ensemble shared a very brief sort of sharing concert at Old South Church in Boston, and that was indeed the premiere of this ensemble. And since then, it has grown into an ensemble with nearly 20 musicians. I will tell you a little bit about our story throughout the evening. I just have to say that I'm incredibly proud of all of the work that these musicians have put into the music that you're going to hear this evening. We opened with Arnold Sherman's Canticle. That was indeed one of the first pieces that was on that spring 2004 performance. It didn't sound like it just sounded. We're going to continue with a beautiful original composition, My Strength is from Heaven. I first mentioned this next project to Greg. But I had mentioned that I thought that Samuel Barber's classic, iconic piece, Sure on the Shining Night, I thought would be beautiful on handbells. Barber originally wrote this piece for vocal soloist and piano with almost a canonic relationship between the vocal line and the piano line. He then later expanded it to an SATB choral arrangement, which is absolutely a stunning piece of music. And Greg's transcription, or Greg's arrangement, really combines both. He really starts with the traditional vocal line and the piano accompaniment, and then you'll hear the harmonies expand more for the second verse, so to speak, where he's brought in the choral arrangement. We are very excited because this is actually the premiere performance of this transcription by Greg, who is hiding back there on the fire trucks. I had originally asked him to write this because we are preparing for our 20th anniversary concert season, which is next year. And I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the activities that are coming up with that. But our spring performance next year is really honoring LGBTQ composers and musicians. And we chose this piece because Samuel Barber was a gay composer, and we thought that his music was absolutely stunning and beautiful. And so that is one of the reasons that we chose this. So here's Sure on the Shining Night. This one takes a little bit of setup because, well, when Greg arranges something, he knows everything that we have, and he wants to use everything, and then he wants more stuff. George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess premiered right here in Massachusetts, in New England, in Boston, in fact. at the Colonial Theatre. If you go and see a program at the Colonial Theatre, it's always in the program notes that Porgy and Bess premiered there in 1935. The piece that we are going to perform next is a medley of some of the classic, iconic tunes from that beautiful show. You will hear a little tiny bit of the overture. You'll hear I Got Plenty of Nothing, Best You Is My Woman Now, Oh Lord, I'm on my way, and of course, the iconic Summertime. So here is Porgy and Bess. mention that the reason we had played that piece was because at our first full spring concert in 2005, I was taken out that medley. This is a great piece for us. We did play Summertime from the medley on that first concert. That was about all we managed. It has come back since then. We played it in 2015, and I love the contrast between all of the different sections. And it's been a lot of fun to work on that with this ensemble. Back Bay Ringers was founded as the nation's first open and affirming handbell ensemble for the members and friends of the LGBTQ. Get a little nervous and the tongue doesn't work anymore. For the LGBTQ plus community. And that is a really important part of who we are. And there are many reasons for that. Years ago, we attended a festival conference, and a young gentleman came up to a friend of mine and said, you know, it's so wonderful that you're able to be here with your church and to be who you truly are. If people in my church knew that I was gay, I would not be allowed to be performing with this group anymore. And he says, and this the choir means so much to me, and the humans in this choir mean so much to me. And it takes a lot to stand and make music as an ensemble. You have to be in a place where you can be your most authentic selves. So that is one of the reasons that has been an important part of who we are as an organization. So, in June of 2022, I received an email from a fellow handbell musician telling me about a new piece that she and her husband had commissioned to honor and celebrate their 2 transgender children. She went on to say that knowing our connection to the community and knowing who we are, she thought this would be a beautiful piece. And I'll just read, Matthew Compton wrote a beautiful essay on the first page. Fantastic. I'm going to read just the caption, just the dedication line. In honor of our children for their courage to follow what was in their hearts, with thanks to everyone who has supported and accepted their authentic identities. And to me, that message from parents says more than what I can put into words. This is Matthew Compton's Transitions of the Heart. story connects so much to me, but that piece of music is just, to me, an absolutely stunning piece of music that was written. Our next piece is Prelude on Herzliebster Jesu. Fred Gramann was for many years the organist and choir director at the American Cathedral in Paris, and also a fantastic composer and arranger. we absolutely love playing his music, and this is one of our favorites. It has been in our repertoire for many, many years. It combines 3 Lenten and Easter tunes and uses pretty much our full range of handbells. We are actually using a 7-octave range of bells. We have a C2, somewhere down there. Oh, there it is. You'll notice that that C2 is a slightly different color from most of our bells. That's because that is one of the Malmark Basso Profundo bells. It is made out of aluminum. It is considerably lighter than what you might think a bell of that size should be. It's also double the size of the bronze counterpart. You want to give it a ring? One of the things that we really like about those aluminum bells is that, number one, they're a lot easier to lift than the bronze bell, which would be close to 20 pounds. But there is no overtones to that, so you're getting a pure, fundamental, strong bass sound. And then on this end, hopefully all the dogs in Andover don't start barking, but we do have our C9. Yep, the little tiny thimble up there. We're also performing on a 6-octave range of choir chimes. You can see these large tubular bells over here that are on the floor. Do you want to give us a C and a G gently? Right. When those are underneath a piece, it almost sounds like the organ is playing. I promise you, no one is playing the organ this evening. And we have one more piece of equipment in the back that you will see used in this, and that is called the cymbals, an invention from Malmark, where they basically took the castings of bells, put them on a rack to allow maybe studio musicians to use them. Of course, as soon as we handbell musicians see them, we're like, oh, look, another toy we can play with. So we're going to use that for a beautiful descant in the middle of Prelude on Herzliebster Jesu. I forgot to give you a warning earlier on, but at this point, it is your turn to ask some questions. But first, I'm going to ask 2 questions. How many of you are hearing a handbell ensemble concert for the first time? Excellent. Welcome. Thank you for choosing to spend your Saturday with us and taking a chance on this. And how many of you are handbell musicians yourselves? Always wonderful to see so many friends in the audience. Excellent. So at this time, we'd love to give our musicians a little bit of a chance to breathe and have you ask any questions about our instruments, about our organization, about the history of handbells. Try to stump me and we'll see how the conversation goes. I promise I won't make anything up. If I don't know, I'll be honest.
I noticed that there's a lot of switching around. How do you decide who's playing which instrument for which song?
That's a great question and one that we get asked often. There are really 2 philosophies. Some people are like, you should play one position and become a master at that position, and that's great. I look at it as every musician has varying strengths and things that are going to really be helpful. So if a piece is really needs a lot of particular mallet work, we might put one of our musicians who's really strong in malleting there. Right? And I actually have a team of section leaders. Section leaders, can you raise your hand, please? Great. Our section leaders and I sit down at the beginning of every season. They analyze every part in every piece. I take a look at everything, and we come up with the assignments based on that. So it's a long process, but for us, it has been a very important part of getting them to where they are. Yes?
How do you practice? I have this vision of you standing at home next door, neighbor, sitting, hearing you, Mom.
So,
how do you practice?
How many of you have bells? How many of you have bells at home? Okay, so most of them are taking the score, well, they're all taking their scores home. We purchase 1 score for every musician, so they all have music to take home. What I ask them to really think about at home is looking at rhythms, making sure that they know their rhythms perfectly, making sure that they're aware of any bell changes, so if they have to change from a flat to a sharp, knowing where those happen. And we also want you to listen to recordings of the music when possible. When we're doing a transcription, I'll send maybe an orchestral version that I'm inspired by. I'll let them listen. I'll encourage them to listen to that, but also, a bell choir performance and that way they understand the context where their part fits in the ensemble. So, and then we rehearse every Monday night, and then they can also request sectionals if there's something that they need extra help with.
So, what are some of the qualifications to actually stand up there amongst you all?
So we do auditions in August, but basically what I look for in the auditions is someone who was successful with sight reading, who was successful at taking feedback, and who is watching and engaging and is aware of the ensemble around them, even when sight reading. And most of the time I will pick one piece that's sort of very technically easy to sight read, but that's when I'm really listening for ensemble and are you taking feedback, are you watching your neighbors? And then the other piece will be more challenging, and I'm of course looking for, are you able to read more complex rhythms and that sort of thing.
So is there a lot of turnover with the musicians, or are you? Because it sounds like you all know each other very well.
There's not. I'm actually going to introduce all of them, and I'll tell you when they joined. But I'm very lucky. We live in Boston, so we do have some turnover. But for the most part, we're very lucky about that. One more question. Yes?
So what happens if you have a concert and one of them is sick?
I cry and I'm stressed out. No, we are very fortunate because of the number of musicians that we have here, we have built-in substitute ringers. This season, we have intentionally done a couple of pieces where everyone is playing, but to be honest, if we really had someone missing in a concert, I could pull the chime part off the back table and we could make it work, right? So they're really expected to be able to, if they're the sub, they're expected to stay familiar with those parts and just be ready.
That's why it's important that they rotate that.
Yes, and it's, you know, hopefully it's not one of our bass bell ringers. Because not all of us want to lift those all the time. They're really heavy. All right, we are going to continue with something. Oh, yes. Last year, I was listening to the Distinctly Bronze concert, and this original composition came on, and I just fell in love with it. So why did I choose it? Because I like it, and I'm the guy with the stick, and I get to do that. This is Elizabeth Peters' Champaca. handbells in the United States have a deep connection to New England and to here in Boston. And this year, we are going to be the closing concert for the National Seminar for the Handbell Musicians of America, 70th anniversary conference here in Hartford, Connecticut. This organization started as the New England Guild of English Handbell Musicians, the New England Guild of English Handbell Ringers, and did change its name a few years ago to the Handbell Musicians of America. It was started by a woman here in Beacon, out of Beacon Hill, Margaret Shercliffe, and has thousands of members here in the United States, as well as many sort of sister organizations around the world. So we are very excited to be able to share most of this performance in Hartford this year. I have a very strict 60-minute time limit, so a few things are getting cut. Our next piece is a piece that has been very dear and near to our hearts in Back Bay Ringers. I programmed it many times, and that's Cathy Moklebust's Resonances and Alleluias. always great for us to be able to program original compositions like this, because these are pieces that were written for this instrument. These composers know what this instrument can do, and can then therefore write a piece that really lets this instrument do what it does best, which is one of the reasons I absolutely love that particular piece. We're going to continue with a piece that I first encountered in college when I was introduced to handbells as a baby handbell musician at Westminster Choir College in Princeton, New Jersey. And one of our favorite pieces to play there was always Take 5 by Dave Brubeck. And I'm going to first introduce the musicians, because you know what? I'm terrible at this, and I've only been doing this for 20 years and I've never actually done that. Bad conductor. So I'm going to introduce them to you. They're going to give a wave. I'm going to introduce them in the order that they have joined the ensemble, starting with our newest musician, who this is actually her first season with Back Bay Ringers, and that's Megan. Simon and Marissa and Jeff also joined in the fall of this year. Austin, Erica, and Casey joined in 2022. Emily L. joined in 2021. Emily, in our bass, usually in our bass. She's not down there, I don't know where to find her. In 2019, Emily S. in 2018, Greg in 2014, Peter and Anna both joined in 2013, Stephanie and Sally both joined in 2012, Cade joined in 2010, Sarah and Susan, who also happens to be the proud mom of Emily L., joined both in 2009, and Adrian's been with me since the very beginning. We'd like to also introduce our special guest artist today, Matt. Oh my goodness, I've been saying this all day. Steady Rossetti. Matt is going to be joining us on the last three pieces on the drums, and we are so grateful. He showed up today at 1:30 and rehearsed with us for the first time, and it was like he's been a part of this group for years. So we are very grateful for you being here with us today. I'm going to sit down and you're just going to play this, because I need a break. No, literally, you just go.
Two bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1.
Usually I'll come around to the front, but it's way too hard right now, so I'm just going to try to get out of everyone's way. And thanks again, Matt. That was fabulous. And don't worry, you're going to get to hear more of that. My name is Cade Murray. I'm the Executive Director of Back Bay Ringers. And on behalf of the entire organization, I want to thank you for being here with us this afternoon, whether you're here in person or on the live stream. We're absolutely thrilled to be able to be here for the first time at Faith Lutheran. It's the first time we've been invited, and we have a lot to thank Abby Schock for bringing us here and providing fabulous support and making us really feel at home, and even filling in during our rehearsal when we had someone missing. She just jumped in and played along with us. So that's the kind of support we like. I'd also just want to say thanks again to all of the ushers and people doing live stream and just everybody that works together to make this a successful event for us. We really appreciate it, and we really feel honored to have the Faith Lutheran community make us feel so at home and invite us into their home. So that's wonderful, and we really thank you. Our spring concerts are usually an opportunity for us to give back to the community. So we have a tradition of donating all of the net proceeds from our concerts to a worthy nonprofit in the Boston area that's doing important work. In the past, we've donated to Stop Handgun Violence, to the LGBT Asylum Project, and this year we're donating to Zumex, which is an East Boston organization that provides arts, education, and performance opportunities to underserved neighborhoods, low-income areas in Boston that really don't have access to the arts. So if you want to find out more about that, that's in your program. And again, all of our proceeds from our concerts this weekend will be going to them. As long as you're looking at your program, I invite you to also look at the envelope that's in there. You can use that envelope for a variety of things. One of them is you can let us know how you found out about the concert, which is really helpful to us. It lets us know how to reach our audience. And if you put that information in and then drop it in the bell on your way out, and we'll get that. You can also use it to sign up for our newsletter, which I promise is a very low volume newsletter. We don't share it with anyone else. We just use it to announce our concerts and other events that people that attend our concerts might be interested in. So you're not going to get a whole lot of spam from that. And of course, you can use the envelope to donate money as well. Because we value the arts and bringing the arts to all people, we try to keep our concerts as affordable as possible. But that means that our concert income does not actually cover our entire costs for the year. And so we do rely on donations from generous individuals to help us make our budget meet at the end of the year. So if that's something that you'd be willing to help us out with it, we'd really appreciate it. You can donate if you're online. You can donate through our website, and we also have a Patreon as well. So there's a couple of different ways to do that. Finally, I'd like to let you know that at the end of the concert, we invite you to come and meet the musicians, come up to the tables, talk with us, take a look at the bells. We love getting to meet our audience and get to know the people that come to our concerts. It's one of our favorite parts is at the end when we get to talk with everyone. So please come up after that. And on your way out, there's also some CDs that you can buy if you're interested. I think everyone is set up, and so we're ready to continue the concert. And I guarantee you, you are going to enjoy the next two pieces almost as much as we do. So thanks very much.
thank you so much for joining us. We know that there are so many things that you could be doing on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in June. I know my garden could use a little more attention, so. But we really hope that you enjoyed this afternoon's program truly as much as we have. This has been a wonderful year for us to be able to bring out pieces that really reflect who we are, to reflect our history in our first 20 years, and just have a great time making some wonderful music. We're going to close with a piece that Greg arranged last year for the Area 1 Festival Conference. That's where about 600 or 700 musicians come together, and we all play in usually a hockey arena. Great acoustics, let me tell you. But we have a wonderful time learning from each other and sharing our music. And Greg arranged this for the opening night concert, and we just had a blast. So here's the Dropkick Murphys shipping up to Boston, because can you play that on handbells? Absolutely. Should you? I don't know.